It's possible.
Because it's possible.
Possible.
Possible. Possible.
Possible.
Possible. A customer-focused approach.
A God-pleasing ethics.
A performance rewarding model.
Growth.
Growth. Growth.
Growth.
Growth.
Growth.
And share the reward.
Covenant, a great place to work, play, succeed. Imagine what we can do together.
Good morning. I want to start off by saying thank you, Shashi. You are a blessing to the HR fraternity. Can we put our hands together for Shashi? What an amazing contribution he's making to our HR fraternity. And I'm so excited to be here this morning. You know, when Shashi told me I've just got 16 minutes and I'm going to be the opening batsman for this conference, I told him the last time I recall being an opener is when I played a cricket match for my team. I represented Covenant, of course. I couldn't get selected for any other team. And in the first ball, when the bowler had come in and bowled with all his energy, I hit a shot expecting the ball to go for a six, but my stumps actually went to the boundary line. So I told Shashi, I'm not a good opener. But he said, no, you got to open this conference. So I've got 16 minutes, so I promised to probably hit a six in every ball and try and do a century, hoping that Shashi will give that extra minute, what we call as a free hit or a no ball or whatever, so that I will try and hit a century in my 16 minutes. I'm here to talk about the Covenant story, and it's been a long time since I actually came on stage and I spoke, and I want to probably give you 3 pairs of maybe the must-do principles which work for Covenant, and probably it can help you. I'm sure there are people coming in from different fields. You might be working for a traditional organization, you could be working for a startup, or possibly you could be one of those persons who want to start your own company in probably any field, not just in HR. You could probably be sitting here in this HR Sangam conference wanting to start your own company. And I want to leave you with 3 pairs, and those 3 pairs that I want to leave with you this morning is something which you can carry forward as you start your journey. The first pair, which I want to talk to you this morning, it's about excellence, and it's about wanting to have a good vision in your life. Joseph, I probably need that pointer. I'm sorry, my pointer is there. I want to talk about excellence this morning and a vision. And this morning, if you're saying that I'm sitting here and I don't know what I want to do in my life, I don't have a vision, I think the first thing that you probably would want to do, thank you, the first thing that you would want to do is you would want to write down what you would want in your life. Have a vision statement. I read somewhere that 3% of the Indian population actually plan their life, and they don't have a vision in their life. And this morning I want to ask you, what is that you would want to achieve? What is your vision in your life? You know, I recall in the school that I studied, I had many guys who come from, varied backgrounds, and most of the guys today have become either politicians or they become film stars. I come from a school which probably many of them were well-to-do in life, and they were really smart, just not on the monetary aspects, but they were smart kids who were studying with me. And I recall in my ninth standard, there was a teacher who walked into my class during the opening session and said, "We're going to choose a captain for your school, for your class." And they looked at me, an old class, and said, they gave a sheet of paper. The teacher gave a sheet of paper and said, "Whoever you want to recommend as a captain, please write down the name and just drop it in a box." So everybody had this great opportunity to write down the name of the person they want to recommend to be the leader in their class. And everybody got that sheet, and inside, deep down, I had this desire. I want to become a captain of my school or captain of my class. But I was scared because this is like a democratic election, and I'm not sure how many of them would have written my name. So everyone was given this, and thank God that it was a closed door exercise. So I looked right, left. Nobody was watching me. I quickly wrote down Joshua in that sheet of paper, folded it up, and put it in the box. And I was hoping that the teacher would go back and then come the next day and announce the results and say, "So-and-so has become the winner and the captain." But unfortunately for me, the teacher said, "I'm going to open the box now itself, and I'm going to read out who's the captain." So there were 60 people in the class, and the sheets got opened up one by one, and my name was not there. 40, 50, there were many people who got many votes that day. That was probably the first election that I was part of. And towards the end, I got scared because I was worried people will make fun of me. People will look at me and say, "Hey, if they finally read out my name, which I wrote, people are going to look at me and have a good laugh." And as the last, sheets of paper were being rolled out, the teacher finally read out Joshua, and everybody laughed. And I wanted to act that day, trust me. So I just looked to my right and left. I said, "Who wrote my name?" Somebody else who wrote my name. I'm surprised that somebody wrote my name. And deep inside I know, I was the guy who wrote my name. Even though that was embarrassing that day, that nobody chose to make me a leader, I had that deep desire down in my heart that I wanted to do something in my life where I wanted to lead. It could be an organization, it could be a purpose, it could be anything. But there has to be that deep desire within each one of us that this is what I would want to achieve in life. So this morning I want to ask you, do you have that vision? And if you don't have one, I truly believe that you got to write down and say, "This is the vision of my life." And I want to pair this vision to excellence. And what is excellence? There's a lot of difference between excellence and success. There are 300 delegates here. And if I keep a 100-meter dash, and if people come in and try and make a race, and we make a race, and the first person who comes in is probably the most successful person in this entire group. The person who comes second, nobody cares. Nobody says that you're successful. You get what I'm saying, right? The first person to win the 100-meter dash is the person who is the most successful person, unfortunately, in today's world. For the last 3 Olympics, the 100 meters was won by Usain Bolt. Who came second? We're scratching our head. Do you think the person who came second in the 100-meter dash was it a joke? No way. Coming second, world's number 2, is not a joke. That guy really prepared. But unfortunately, nobody remembers the number 2. Everyone remembers number 1. What am I trying to say? That is success. But you know what excellence is? Excellence is if you're all running, and if your personal best is, say, 12 seconds, you run 100 meters, and you manage to do it in 11.5 seconds, that is excellence. You are bettering yourself. In other words, you don't compete with the person right of you, left of you, you compete with yourself. So at Covenant, one of the things that we do is we teach our people, be excellent, not successful. You don't have to compete with anybody else. You be at your personal best. Whatever God's talents that He has given you, you try and better it and be at your personal best. That is excellence for me, and we give a card to every individual. We acknowledge we don't have targets in our organization, but what we have is, of course, we do have targets, but what we acknowledge and what we recognize is when people better their own personal mark, we tell them, you are excellent, and we honor them, irrespective of what numbers. If they're doing better than what they have previously done, we call it as a personal best record, like a world record or an Olympic record. So I want to talk about the first pair, which is vision and excellence, is something that you would probably want to implement in your life. The second pair which I want to talk about is, we would like to talk about purpose and action. Once that you have an action, we started as a small company, as you have seen in that video. We started as a company which was a couple of people, and then we went on to become 20, 40, and we, from a small office, we went to a bigger office and to a bigger office. And the year 2011, we went to where we are right now in a place called India Bulls Tech Park, where we took over a big office where, most of us could sit there. And today we are around 350 people sit in our corporate office alone. But then what do I want to tell you is vision alone will not take you to where you are. And if you're sitting here this morning and if you're saying, I've got a great vision, what is the next step? You got to go on and put your vision into action and action into purpose. So I want to club action and purpose as my next twin. I'm running out of time, so I'm going, pretty fast. What is action? Action is something which you really want to give your 100%. There are days where, see, we are a company which was never funded. We're still not funded. So a lot of people ask, do you need money to start an organization? Do you really need money to make it big? As a company, we've never taken a funding from anyone. We do not have a venture capitalist or a private equity because we've been profitable right from day one. But then we took a lot of gambles, we took a lot of risk in terms of investing, taking our profits and putting it back into the company and trying to grow the organization. But then I believe that without working hard or putting your 100% of yourself, without action, you're not going to move on in life. You got to really believe in what you are doing. I have a humorous incident which happened in my life. A friend of mine who came in from abroad actually stayed in a hotel in Nungambakkam, a very prominent hotel. And when he was staying for a day, he narrated a very beautiful, humorous incident. He told me when he wanted to, buy a bottle of water, he went to the reception and the water bottle there was very costly, so he didn't want to buy it at the reception. So he decided he will just walk across the road, go to the, shop right across the road and buy a water bottle. And as he was, trying to cross the road, how Nungambakkam is, he was just not able to cross. So he tried, he comes from abroad, so he wanted to know if there is some place where he can switch on or switch off the signal, and, he tried to wave his hand, nobody bothered. He tried to, tell people, hold, stop, nothing happened. You know how our traffic is. We are all in our morning rush, we want to go to work or go back to our homes. Nobody stopped. And he was like wondering, how do I cross the road? Because for 10 minutes, he stuck right there in that place. And suddenly, he saw a buffalo. And a buffalo was crossing the road, and bang on, everybody stopped. Nobody moved, all the cars stopped. And he saw that along with that buffalo, there were around 10 people who crossed the road. And he followed the buffalo and he crossed the road and he went to the other side. So he looked at me and he said, Joshua, now I know how India works. If you have to cross the road, you first have to find a buffalo. See, what am I trying to tell you here is that whatever works for you, works, as simple as that. When we started as a HR company, now we moved into a couple of other disciplines. But in HR, again, we wanted to know what works for us. In other words, for us, we wanted to be only in the permanent staffing space. We did not want to be in the contract staffing. Even though contract staffing was very easy, we could get any number of orders, we could just go on and, make a little bit of, a lot of clients there. But we realized in contract staffing, the margins were very less. and you got to invest much more. And as I told you, when we initially started, we did not have an investor. So we decided we will not be in contract staffing, even though it was easy to get a client, even though we could add many clientele. The margins were small, the profit margins were very small. So we decided we'll go the tough route, we'll work on only the permanent staffing where the margins are very high. And it worked for us. We were able to really create the niche for ourselves in the permanent staffing space, and when we grew. What works for you? It worked for Covenant. It can work for you in probably in some other way. You got to figure out what is your strategy and then go back on that. I know the story of Napoleon. When Napoleon wanted to fight a war, he went in his ships to the shore, and when he landed, he suddenly realized he made a mistake in his planning because the enemy was 3-4 times bigger in size than Napoleon. And the army was wanting to revolt and looking at Napoleon and saying, I can't fight this war, let me just go back let's take the ships back and go back to our place. You know what Napoleon did? He called his general and he told his general, burn all the ships that we came. And the general goes and burns all the ships. And now Napoleon looks at his army and he says, there's no going back, there's just one way. You want to live, you fight. And history says that Napoleon won one of his greatest wars because the army didn't have a plan B. I'm really not a big fan of plan B, because when you have what works for you, you have to give your 100% in it and just go for it. When you always have a backup option, you really don't give your 100%. Back of your mind, you tell yourself, there is this backup option, I'm not going back. What really worked for Covenant is, personally, I did not have a backup option. When Covenant started, I knew that this was my everything, and if I fail in this, I'm going to be nothing. And I had to give more than my 100%. So it is very important for you to figure out what works for you and what is the purpose. Why are we all here this morning? Not because Shashi invited us to be here. We are here because we want to learn something. Why did you wake up this morning? This why question is very important in each one of your life. Why? Why did you wake up this morning? Why did you come here? Why did you not go to your work? Why are you doing what you're doing? That is purpose. And our vision and our mission statements, our Covenant are all focused towards this why. That as a company, we are there to exist to eliminate unemployment. We want to eliminate underemployment. We want to give that delightful choice to our clients. The purpose, or in other words, the why, is very important. I've got 6.5 minutes more. The last pair of twins that I would like to talk about is about faith and integrity. In my school, I studied in a school called Don Bosco. And I recall it was a sports day. And I was running the relay. And I belonged to a house called Blue House. We all have houses, right? I'm taking you back to your schools. So I belonged to the Blue House, and I was in the final leg of the relay. It was a 4 into 100 meters relay. The relay started, and the guy who was representing Blue House started with the band. He went and passed on the baton to the second guy, and Blue House was actually winning. And I was like, my heart was pumping much faster because I'm running the final leg and I wanted to win. And I went to the third leg, and finally the baton came to me. And I ran with all my might, and I won the race. And as I won the race, I looked at the people, my friends who were all sitting in the stadium, and I said, yes, it's me. I won this race. To my surprise, I found that nobody came and congratulated me. And to my greatest surprise, I found that even my own teammates did not come and congratulate me. Initially, I thought they were all jealous that I was the final the final lap runner, and why are they not congratulating me? And suddenly my PD master looked at me and he said, Joshua, you are disqualified. I looked at him and said, what do you mean disqualified? I was the first guy to run through. He looked at me and he said, you are disqualified because you are supposed to run in the Blue House track, and you are running in the Red House track, blocking the guy who was in front of you, so you are disqualified. I looked at him, I pleaded with him, I requested him, I cajoled him, I threatened him, and I protested with him. Nothing worked. That guy said, you are disqualified. And you know what? I lost my medal that day. And my whole team lost their moment of glory because of me. You know what? I just met one of those teammates who ran along with me just a couple of months before. He looked at me and said, Joshua, I still have not forgiven you for what you did on that particular day. What am I trying to tell you? that you could be the winner and you could think you're the winner, but you're still not the winner if you're running on the wrong track. There is a track kept for you, and that track is called the integrity track. And if you don't run in the track which you're supposed to do, you're not a winner. See, achievement of goals is not going to work if you're not going to follow the right ways. You know, this protest which Shashi was talking about, that was a good cause, but the protest has to happen in a non-violent way. It has to happen in a democratic way. If you're going to achieve through difficult means, you are not a winner. Even though you think you're a winner, one day the whole world is going to look at you and say, sorry, you did not make it. It is very important to play that integrity card. You know, in Covenant we have something called as a promise card. We give each other a promise card. We look at each other and we say, I promise that this is how I would want to be at. This is my commitment. We give our clients a promise card. We told them, it's just not the agreements that we sign, but this is the promise that we're giving you that we will follow our commitments to you. Because integrity is extremely important in each of your lives. It is very important that you got to pair both your faith and integrity. And without faith, you're not going to work. For me, I always believe that you got to put your faith on someone above, and that faith will actually help you to achieve your goal. I base my life principles on the biblical word, on the Bible, because I believe that teaches me life principles that I don't go back on any one of integrity tracks that we are talking about. I want to say this and I want to close. In Yuvraj Singh, who was the man of the series in 2011 World Cup, he was about to quit. He was not even going to be selected for the 11 World Cup. And when he was about to quit, he wrote the letter to the then coach Gary Kirsten and told Gary Kirsten, I'm going to quit. And Gary Kirsten, it seems, sent a reply back to Yuvraj Singh. And that was one of the inspirational quotes of Muhammad Ali. And the quote goes like this. He said, "Dear Yuvraj Singh, I just want you to send this quote of Muhammad Ali and I want you to read it." And the quote says, "Suffer now, don't quit. Live like a champion for the rest of your life." Suffer now, don't quit. Live like a champion for the rest of your life. As an entrepreneur or even as a human being, whatever you do, it is very important that you don't quit your race, because if you're going to quit your race in the middle, it is not going to work at all. You got to always have this policy of, telling yourself, I'm not going to quit the race. These three pairs, or these three twin pairs which I told you, have your life full of excellence and have a clear vision in your life. Have a life which is full of purpose and action. And have a life which is full of faith and integrity. I will end with a chess game. I've got exactly 60 more seconds. I don't need a no ball today. Thanks, Shashi. We all play chess, right? We have different, we have a pawn, we have a bishop. The queen is all powerful in the chessboard. I mean, as such in our houses, I tell my wife, you're the most powerful, The king is a pavam guy in Tamil word, he can just move one step, that's it, But the queen is all powerful, it can do anything. But in a chess game, if the king is gone, the game is over. I mean, you all follow chess, right? So whenever an opponent looks at you and he looks at and gives a check to the king and he says checkmate, it simply means your game is over. Checkmate means it's over, right? You give that. But the opponent will look at it, when you look at it and tell your opponent, I don't think this is checkmate. I think I have one more move. I can move my king this side, I can move my king that side. That means it's actually not a checkmate, I've got one more move. And I want to tell you in life, when situations and all kinds of situations comes and tells you checkmate, I think it's very important for you to find that next move and look at your circumstance and say, I'm sorry, it's not a checkmate. And bang on time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Joshua. We just have time for one question. If you have, very quickly, you can ask one question. And
Hi, my name is Anuj Gupta. And Joshua, first of all, I congratulate you for the exponential growth that you have witnessed for your organization, Covenant.
Thank you.
Yeah, it needs a round of applause, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm honored. Thank you very much. Yeah.
You know, the question that I have is that having a vision, having excellence and faith and integrity for an entrepreneur is one thing. But what really matters is the execution by the team. And since you have grown, you have seen the growth, I am sure that the same vision and that same purpose of building Covenant must be shared by your employees also. So for people like us who have started not long back and are in the initial stages of our operations, I really would be keen to know that what is it, one or two things that you suggest or advise that we should be sharing with our team so that the same vision, mission, or the purpose of the organization can be shared equally with them.
Absolutely. I couldn't cover a lot of strategies what I do at Covenant because I've got a 16-minute and I was strictly asked to follow. But then since you asked that question, the team is the most important, one of the most important, reasons why Covenant succeeded and why every organization to succeed. When Covenant started, I could not attract the best manpower. So nobody wanted to join me because you know how it is. I was a 24, 25-year-old kid and nobody wants to join you. So what I did was I went to campuses. I got a lot of freshers and I told them I sold this vision. And for me, I was struggling to not just sell my company, I was struggling to sell my profession. I'll be very candid to you. Because what happened is HR, everybody wants to become a generalist. Nobody wants to become a recruiter. Are you with me? The dream job for everybody is I want to be a generalist head HR somewhere one day. And when I say, hey, you can become a recruiter, you can actually have a great career, it was very difficult for me to convince. So I actually went to campuses, convinced them about the profession, convinced them about Covenant, and I picked them up. I picked them up in loads, 10s and 20s, and that's how I started. I took freshers, started training them, giving them the vision, and giving them the job training, and started doing well. And the vision that the company had to really, get down, trickle down to the last person, and that's what we do. And every day we have a morning meeting where we address that. And I want to tell you this, today, those people I picked up from the campuses are still with me. I have more than 80 people in my company who have completed more than 5-6 years. I have more than 10-15 people who have completed 10 years in this company, and the persons who joined me in that initial rung are still there. Not because they are related to me, but because they actually see a purpose in working here, because they've grown in their career, they've earned good money, and they have a name for themselves. Because you cannot grow without your team growing. I think that answers your question.
Absolutely, Joshua, that answers the question. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Joshua,
Thank
Madan
you,
here.
Arjun.
Can we give a round of applause, please?
Honored to receive it. Thank you so much. Yeah. Definitely. We'll catch up. Come over. Yeah.
Thank you so much.